these opening hands, and let's see if these two friends play nice.
I really, really like this limited format. What I like about this limited format, it's a little bit slower.
Yeah.
It's not so focused on 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop, curve out and win the game. You can win games
Although that
way.
is nice.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, you know me, I love giving beatdowns.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you definitely can win games that way, but I expect to see some longer games
Yeah.
between these two awesome players.
Agonizing Remorse will be the first play of the day. Gonna take a look at Javier's hand and dispatch of something, sending it into exile. And like you were saying, I mean, this draft format is a lot slower. It's very reminiscent of Dominaria, which
Yeah.
I absolutely loved once I understood it. It can be a little daunting for a few newer players if they're trying to get into draft and that sort of thing. But yeah, absolutely awesome set. I love the theme. Theros is amazing. The gods are so freaking cool, and I hope we get to see some of them today. Ultra Pantheon coming down for Andrea Mengucci. Passes it back to Javier, who finds a Hydra's Growth. Now, that is one of my favorite cards in this set. I love this enchantment.
Hydra's Growth is nice. Hyrax Tower Scout allows Javier to at least get onto the battlefield here. And what you see here on the top of the screen for our scarf wearer there in Andrea Mengucci is a very, very slow start. You know, we're seeing some mana being generated here, and he's got some 6-mana threats, so he's just drawn a second one there in Archon of Falling Stars. So he does have some things kind of going on here as far as big payouts are concerned.
Yeah.
But, you know, you'd like to see him get to the battlefield at least a little bit earlier in the game.
I mean, he could Blight Breath Cataplepus to get rid of the Hyrax Tower Scout.
What'd you call me?
I did not.
You call me a Cataplepus.
I called you a Cataplepus. Or Archon of Falling Stars, a flying threat. It's one of the more difficult names, that's for sure, alongside Ichthyomorphosis. Did I get that right?
I'm leaving that to you, my friend.
All right, let's just get those out the way now.
Can I say the tough one in Glory Bearers?
Yes.
There you go. I
Good
nailed
job.
it.
You nailed that. All righty, here we go. Hydra's Growth finds a target. Now the 4/4. It's going to double its counters every single upkeep, and it gets way out of hand. So Andrea Mengucci needs to answer this growing threat, finds another Archon of Falling Stars. So he can get this, what is that, a yak, a moose? I know it's an Archon, but I'm going to call it a cow. The Flying Cows. He's got to get the Flying Cow Brigade going and then use the Cataplepus to just get in the way and hopefully help him out there a little bit. Because, yeah, this Tower Scout, it's not fun.
Javier's got some interaction here. Varika's Libation, I think, is where we're going to start things up. Make the opponent sacrifice a creature. So away one of these creatures is going to go, and then we may see Erebos' Intervention on the following turn. So it's all going very well for your reigning and defending world champion in this game 1.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the life totals. Mengucci's on 9 now, so he's going to have to start tendering some blocks pretty soon, or he's going to be very, very, very dead.
And I like Javier's play here, too, in which he doesn't really have to do anything with regards to playing the removal spell. What he can do is make this attack. You're going to see a block here from Mengucci, and then you can play the big Nyxborn Colossus and not really be too worried about much of anything.
So on the death trigger, we do get the Glory Bearers back from the graveyard. So at least another chump blocker there for Mengu, but he's going to have to find something. He needs a removal spell. Ooh, Drag to the Underworld. Talk about removal spells. That's pretty much one of the best in the format. So this will deal with the Tower Scout. And there's no way for Javier to prevent that from getting dead.
Yeah, that is a step in the right direction, drawing that particular removal spell. So I'm curious to see what Mengu's plan is going to be on this particular turn, because he might have some interest in continuing to play another 6-mana threat here and another copy of Archon of Falling Stars. Mengu gonna take some time on how he wants to move forward this turn. We've talked about so much already this weekend about how this is the most important tournament of these players' lives. This might be the most important turn of Andrea Mengucci's life right now.
Yeah, because how big is this thing next turn? It gets 4 counters on it.
Oh, it's gonna be...
It's rather large. Can he chump block it, or is it a case of I have to drag this to the Underworld?
I mean, that's a really, really tough question to answer. We're gonna start with the Cataplepus, it looks like.
The Cataplepus is going to get that to -2/-2. Doesn't really do anything, unfortunately, so it's just a big, bad-breathed cow. A 3/2. Voracious Typhon is the draw, and we also have the Erebos Intervention in hand there for Javier. So things are looking pretty good for the reigning world champion.
Yeah, I'm loving this turn here for Javier. He gets to attack with both of his creatures, 6/7 and 7/7 into the red zone. No real good blocks. You're going to see a chump block here, it looks like, from the Glory Bearers, because Archon has the ability to bring that back. But we're going to see, it looks like a drag to the Underworld, as you did mention. It's going to take care of the 7/7. There's your chump block, and we move forward accordingly.
Voracious Typhon following up there. Nyxborn Colossus remains on the battlefield. Unfortunately, no more doubling counters anymore, but it's all right. Archon of Falling Stars makes its way onto the battlefield alongside the that one. Cataplepus.
The Cataplepus.
There we go, we'll call it that. Oh, and look at this. Javier is just finding all the answers. Final Death, exiling the Archon, not getting that death trigger, so Glory Bearers will not return once again. Swinging into the red zone. Blight Breath, Cataplepus has to block. Andrea Mengucci is down to 5. Not looking good here.
With a swamp in hand and 1 draw step left to go, an Underworld Charger is a creature that cannot block.
Man. You know, as much as I like the Underworld Charger, when you're the aggressor, it's really, really bad when you're having your face just pummeled in by these creatures. So, very convincing win there for Javier. Let's take a look at sideboard times. What do you think he's going to make a change here towards?
Well, I think that first game kind of went according to plan, truth be told. You know, what I like about Javier's deck is he's a nice little mix of everything. He's got some removal. He's got some ways to play a longer game with those 2 copies of Relentless Pursuit. He's got, of course, some big creatures and a little bit of a devotion to green strategy with Renata called to the hunt. So I don't think he really needs to change all that much. Is it obviously totally fine to review your options given what's going on at this tournament?
Sideboard. It's like he has everything there.
Yeah,
every single color.
He's kind of across the board with all the colors, but I don't expect him to change very much here, and he's not going to change anything. He's going to send it on back and say, what worked well the first game, let's see if it does again the second game.
So here we go, game number 2 between Andrea Mengucci and Javier Dominguez, reigning world champion and future world champion, I believe, in Andrea Mengucci. I think he is certainly good enough to notch that, get that under his belt too. But let's get going here, just a land, a turn, and 2 Renatas in hand. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this card is so cool when it gets going.
I mean, this is a really nice hand for both players right now.
It looks, I mean, like most of their payoff cards, their big hitters are here, except for Cetessan Champion. So things are looking good here for both players. We got Kunaros, Hound of Athreos. This dog is a little crazy. I just want to point that out there.
Well, the bad news here for Javier is that he missed his 3rd land drop, and that means we're going to see Kunaros into Elspeth. So that's rare and a rare. Best of luck to you, Javier.
Sure. Good luck. That was good.
Thank you so much. Here come the beatdowns, which you know I'm in favor of. Now, the 3rd land does show up now. Scavenging Harpy is going to come down. 2/1 flyer, enters the battlefield, gets to exile something from the graveyard, but there's nothing to exile. There's a lot of problems on the battlefield right now.
Oh man, Mengucci is off to a blistering start. Elspeth, Sun's Nemesis. I mean, Javier's not even focusing on that. He's just like, okay, there's a crazy dog in front of me. It's going to keep smacking me, gaining life. And also now there's 2/1s on the battlefield. So Elspeth is just such a cool card, It's not stupidly powerful. It's not insane levels of, okay, you just end the game. Maybe like Ashiok would be.
Yeah.
But you could just keep replaying it if you've got ways to fill your graveyard. It's a really, really strong card.
Yeah, it's going to be good over just a natural game as well, as the graveyard just kind of fills up over just natural gameplay of Magic. You'll be able to escape it back to the battlefield. In the meantime, 2 more 1/1s, a Glory Bearers, and just going to pass the turn back. So not a bad start here for Mengucci.
I will say Glory Bearers has been quite a surprising card because it gives the buff to toughness when each creature attacks. So it makes combat a little tricky for Javier. Elspeth is off the battlefield now, so can come back later once there's enough things to escape with from the graveyard.
Interesting thing here is that Mengu's hand was a very easy, straightforward kind of snap keep, as we like to call it.
Oh, yeah.
He had Elspeth, he has Kunaros. Both of those cards have been played. Multiple copies of Glory Bearers here. He could afford to find another spell. You're going to get a lot of triggers from Glory Bearers in the meantime.
You like triggers?
I'm okay with triggers.
I like triggers.
I'm not against
I like that triggers are automatic and you don't have to call each and every single one.
I do think if for Javier, and he's looking at ways to get back in this game, Green Source off the top is where it's going to have to begin. This game, he doesn't have the opportunity or the time to cast Relentless Pursuit, as he's already down to 5, and that's not a forest.
So a little bit unlucky there with the lands is Javier, and an absolutely blistering start there for Andrea Mengucci. He's got him down to 5, so the turns have tabled, that is for sure, and he's just going to keep going away, just keep swinging in with all of his creatures. They're so tough. And yeah, you got to think this one's going to Andrea Mengucci.
Yeah, I think so. And one thing I like about Andrea here is he's kind of thinking about his turn instead of just sending all of his creatures into the red zone. Let's think it through a little bit here. Again, there's a lot on the line. You know that Andrea, he's a Mythic champion.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mythic Invitational winner. He'd love to be a world champion as well. Have to beat a good friend along the way to do that there in Javier Dominguez. But it looks like things might be heading his direction with this Heliod's Pilgrim entering the battlefield.
Let's take a look and see what it's going to find from the library for Andrea. And it's going to be Indomitable Will.
Generally used as a combat trick to surprise the opponent, given that it does have flash, but it is still good in a situation like this where Javier knows it's coming, but there's really nothing he can do about it. Andrea knows that. That's why he searches it up, and here comes the attack.
I love it. Hitting the resolve, all swinging in with the entire team. We're going to tender some blocks here for Javier. Try and get this Kunaros off the battlefield. But if he does that, he just dies. So concession there. Andrea Mengucci picks up the game. We're going into game number 3. There is everything to play for. These players do not want to drop down into the lower brackets. So they have to pick up a win to avoid that.
And these players in the Mythic Championships that they played all throughout 2019, they were always in the upper brackets. They were always crushing and winning and winning and winning. And now for them to start their tournament off with a loss, and now if they lose this game, they're headed to that lower bracket. Their tournament gets substantially more difficult if that does happen. So a very important game in front of us here in game 3.
Take a look at the opening hands. Javier really likes his, keeps it straight away. He's got a turn 3 play, and he's got Renata if he finds the second green, which he does off the top of the library. Easy peasy.
Yeah, this is a straightforward keep for Javier. You mentioned that second green, him needing that. Taking a look at Andrea Mengucci's hand, what I'm not seeing here is a black source hand.
Yeah.
I see a couple of planes in the hand and a lot of black cards, and that is not a swamp either. Mengucci might be in some serious trouble because here comes Renata.
All right, so your turn, my turn, your turn. Here we go. Javier Dominguez swinging in with his creatures on the battlefield. Every single creature entering now is going to get another counter off Renata. Does have Glory Bearers just to block and keep some damage off the face. Rage Guard Berserker is going to give something +1 and indestructible. So
absolutely love it. Makes it so that Renata can get into the red zone this turn. Very straightforward play there with the Rage Guard Berserker. But more importantly, there's a 6/5 on the battlefield. And Mengucci did find the swamp. So it's time to try to turn this game around.
Now, Kunaros, he's a good pupper, and he can at least chump one of these three toughness creatures.
Yeah, a trade potentially. You know, one thing that Kunaros wishes that dog had was obviously Death Touch. It's got a lot of keywords, but Death Touch is one of them.
Oh yeah, Constellation triggers, here we go. Would you like to draw a card, sir?
This is another aspect of Javier's deck that I really do like. You know, he's got a little bit of Escape, he's got a little bit of Constellation, he's got a little bit of Devotion here as well. So he's kind of coming from a lot of different areas, a little bit of removal thrown in here as well. His deck does a lot of things pretty well, nothing great, but that can be good enough to get a game win.
Yeah. No second swamp for Andrea Mengucci, so he cannot drag anything to the underworld just yet. Kunaros is going to swing in. It's indestructible. It's got lifelink, so at least padding that life total a little bit.
And
Champion's going to block.
More importantly in this spot, it has Vigilance as well. So this is more or less a free attack to gain 4 life back. Pretty smart, straightforward block there from Javier. No damage is going to get through, but Mengucci's going to get his life when we head back over to Javier. Another card coming from the enchantment.
Renata. Nice. So there's a Renata off the top of the library. I mean, his battlefield is absolutely stacked right now. Look at all these cards he's got.
This is a good-looking battlefield, and he's drawn a couple of cards from the Setessan Champion as well. So again, what you're seeing here is Javier's got the ability to kind of do a lot of different things.
So I think Renata's going to attack here. It's going to die, but he has a second one in hand. So replacing it, that's just so great. And he draws another card, gets another trigger off Setessan Champion. This thing is going to be an absolute house by the end of this match.
Yep, you're seeing the Constellation aspect of the deck, and you're seeing also the Devotion side of the deck kind of coming into play.
Yeah. So he was in green-white initially, like in the draft process, and he switched to green-black. Now, green-black is maybe not as well known for the aura side of things and, you know, the constellation, but I think he's built something really, really solid here, and it's working beautifully.
Yeah, it's come together pretty well in this third and final game. Again, you're seeing all the pieces to the puzzle, and now that reason for the Black Splash is the removal that he's picked up over the course of the draft, and Erebos' intervention, is a very nice removal spell in this situation.
Oh, yes. We might see it fired off here, get rid of one of these blockers, and just swing in for a million damage. Because if not, why not?
Yeah, a little bit to think about here. Now, you take a look at Mengucci's hand. Mengucci would love to draw another black source to cast Drag to the underworld.
2 drag.
That's kind of the problem right now for Mengucci. And Javier, again, doing something I love to see top players do in situations like this. Let's just take a moment. Let's think it all through. How do I want to use this removal spell? See where he wants to line this up and what X is going to be. It's going to be for 3. Looks like going after your favorite little hound of Athreos.
He's a good boy. Or 3 boys? I don't know. What happens if there's 3 heads? I don't know. But here we go, swinging in. That is a lot of big, green, angry dudes flying in under Mengucci. And well, he's got the Archon of Falling Stars. He's not even going to tender a block. Gives it up to Javier Dominguez, who is still alive in this tournament.
That is a huge win there for Javier if he wants to go back-to-back here, which obviously he does want to try to accomplish. But more than anything, Mengucci, in which Marshall and Paul, they gave his deck an A. His deck is very, very, very good, and he's 0-2 with that deck. He's down to the lowers. That is a tough spot to be.